Only a 60 doesn't really apply the pressure on John Henderson, who's looking at this 120 for a 3-0 lead. He's found the treble, but because of the way that first dart was pitched so high on the bed, there was always a possibility of a bounce out with dart 2, and that's exactly what's happened 65. There. And to try and Belgium make up for that particular area, he went high and then drifted wide into the 5.
Vandenberg was looking for a showstopper.
100.
Recovers well, and a bit of pressure here.
Require 55.
So for 3-0.
Yeah, second leg in the row. Scott Campbell unable to find the single number. He just did well last time.
You have to say, from a position of authority in this leg, Scotland have made this harder work than perhaps they should have made it. And just a little disturbance at the back of the auditorium. You can quite literally hear a pin drop in here. And Scott Campbell's done very well to recover there. Scotland. It was one of those moments where inside a very small auditorium, if something perhaps just drops to the floor, even something as small as a beer mat, it will make a big noise.
Days off and everyone else has been playing. Well, I have to say, from what I've seen from Scotland so far, it hasn't been a problem.
36.
Well, 5 missed darts at a double for this Belgian pair, but on that occasion it's not going to be punished, but is it going to be put under pressure next time round? Henderson needs another treble to ensure that's the case, and
Belgium require 20.
They'll have a couple of visits to the board if they so want to reduce the gap back down to 2. But Roman only needs 2 darts, back to 3-1, and Scotland forced to serve it out. That the family of Brian.
A bit of a relaxed visit there does offer up this opportunity for Scott Campbell.
Well, this would be some way to seal it and some way to open up the account for the night. 1-4-5 isn't going to go, and so the door is now open for Belgium to reduce the gap back down to 3-2.
95.
But you sense it's an opportunity they're going to have to take.
May just be a shot at the ball. Well, it's double 5.
77.
That wasn't far off the mark.
Scotland, you require 50.
That could be curtains for Belgium. John Henderson comes back, looking at double top to round it off. Double 10. And Scotland are off to the perfect start. The former World Cup winner, John Henderson, pins a double 10, which puts them in the perfect position to progress through to the semi-finals.
Opportunity here
49.
For Richie Burnett and for Wales.
Is this the turning point in the contest? .36 scored, so 13 left. Richie Burnett has bust the score. And he looks like he's about to combust on the stage. And this is an opportunity that perhaps Jimmy Van Schie did not expect. Head in hand. Well, maybe a little bit more than that.
He can't believe it. It was a golden opportunity.
No score.
But, well, I don't think anyone was expecting that in response from Jimmy Van Schie.
Well, it feels like one of those legs as to who's going to keep themselves together. And after all that, Kurt Parry only had a dart at double 16. Well, 6 darts effectively. 2 turns Wales have had effectively to break the throw. And they only got 1 dart at a double as a result of it. And Danny Van Schie picks the pieces up eventually by pinning double 2 to make it 2-2. And if they can find it here, and they've got 6 darts to do so, they'll have the darts in the next to see the game through. Now, because the stage is, I suppose, a little bit small because you've got more people on there, when a player walks past, it can maybe sometimes go in the line of sight unintentionally of the player at the board. And I think that was just what happened there. No shenanigans, just one of those things that happen. But what Van Tripe has done is leave Van Schie on double 18 after 12 to open up a 3-2 lead. But it's going to be under pressure as Parry piles in a max, the third of the leg.
Parry knew that last one was going in before he'd even pulled the 3rd dart back. That raise of the eyebrows, because he knew it was probably going to be too little too late, and it was. Yeah, the 161 now not able to go, but good recovery with the second, because the first dart was awkward.
95. Netherlands require.
So this 92. For the match. Jimmy Van Schie looking at 92. to get the Dutch off to the perfect start. It's the bullseye. It's not there. It clips the 25 wire.
Requires 66.
Is this a match-saving chance here now? Kurt Parry just taking that step back, taking his time, and tops is found, and 66 converted to make it 3 apiece. And now it's advantage Wales because they get to go throw first in this deciding leg.
And it's a game you have to say has deserved a last leg decide. Richie Burnett nominated Kurt Parry as the captain. Can Captain Kurt deliver? No, he can't. And so the Dutch are back. They missed the dart to win the game in the previous leg. They're going to get another opportunity. And it's going to be their man, the crowd's man, the people's champion, Jimmy Van Schie, over this 64. It's going to be one dart in his hand. And that dart's at double 16. 48. He cannot take it. And so Wales are back for victory once again.
20.
Well, both have had match-winning chances. Shake of the head there for Jimmy Van Schie as Richie Burnett steps up, and Richie Burnett does find double 10, and it is a 4-3 victory for the Welsh pairing of Richie Burnett and Kurt Parry. And what a celebration in the end. It was an epic battle between the duo.
They will be better for that particular experience. Ireland here, 6 darts and 1-4-1 to level up at 1 apiece. Shane McGurk was heading down to move up. Look at treble 10 here,
89.
because finding that would have left John O'Shea on 32. Well, so far, it's felt
52.
like a game where both legs have comfortably gone with throw. And that is definitely the plan, and that was definitely executed perfectly from John O'Shea. And we have a level game at 1 apiece. Treble 16 would have left the double.
51.
And Belgium in a very good position here to get the break of throw.
You have to say, though, the Belgian pair playing with sense of urgency, good pace.
Game shot of 4th
And
leg.
there is the break of throw. And now they have the chance here to serve it out. But
80.
just afforded 6 darts from here for Roman.
Which is why he headed down to the 16s.
48.
He's going to leave Janty van den Berg on 32 upon his return for the Republic of Ireland duo, Shane McGurk and John O'Shea. It looks like it's going to be a 1-game shootout against Scotland to come, 52. Because Janty van den Berg will return to the board looking at double 16 to complete a 4-1 success. And it means now the only way that Belgium can go out is through a 9-dart shootout. The best of friends doing a grand job tonight. And they know that they have got a foot in the semi-finals, and only external factors can now go against them to knock them out. Steve West knows all too well that Jimmy Van Schie could take out these big finishes under pressure. He hit 2 of them against him in a Champions Week semi-final once upon a time, but he's not going to find the 1-5-6 there.
80.
And so England will be back for 1-3-4, and it's going to be Mervyn King to the hockey to try and get a leg back and to return the game to throw.
Yeah, well, it's going to have to wait if England can get back into this match. And as for set-up play,
38.
another bit of a disaster there for England.
76.
Yeah, double 8 for 3-0, and 3-0 it is.
The Netherlands.
The Dutch duo extending their lead. One more now.
Looks like Jimmy and Danny might be getting it right here, because they're 80 points away from a 4-0 victory, which would be enough to send them through to the semi-finals. They mismatched darts in their opening game against Wales, but it looks like a situation that's going to be rendered irrelevant. Jimmy Van Schie looks at double top, and that's a qualification dart that's come and gone.
86.
And this could be a match-saving opportunity for Steve West. Perfect first. Double 16, and a 2-dart checkout on 86 just to save the skin of England. He has to move across. Is that a bit awkward? Now that is very awkward. Just trying to find an angle, force a dart through, and yet that was difficult. The first dart made it hard, the second dart made it even harder.
Well, we've seen Hail Mary attempts on Mervyn King on Saturday nights before. Charlie Martin might want to look away now. But he's unable to find the 115, and so his third time going to be the charm for the Netherlands.
23.
Third visit to the board to try and win this match,
16.
and it's double 8 for Danny van Tripe. Third time is the charm, and the Netherlands are into the semi-finals. We will have one of the powerhouse nations in the final four of the inaugural international pairs here in the MODUS Super Series. As for the host nation, well, they are going to have to sweat it out, but it's relief on the face of Danny van Tripe. But it needs a first step, and that could be completed here.
Trying to work his way in and overcooks the last one. And yeah, that's a bit of a disastrous outcome.
If Campbell finds this, the worst case scenario is a 9-dart shootout for Scotland. 2 legs means that they don't just go through, they also win the group. Cannot find the treble 16 with dart 2, and so McGurk will get another opportunity
83.
at this 15 to put Ireland's noses in front. It's going to be 2 in his hand, a double 4. Finds it, and that's the first of 4 that Ireland need in succession to make it through.
Double 6.
78.
And I felt that was just a little bit rushed there by John O'Shea on the last.
And that could be the final miss that he's afforded. 24 left. Might not be the worst miss in the world for John Henderson.
The other one might not have been, but that most certainly was. It's a reprieve for Ireland.
30. Ireland, you require
But as we
6.
all know, double 3, this can be awkward. You've got to attack with the first. John O'Shea can't look, but he can look now. 3-1 for Ireland, and what was looking improbable is now looking very possible.
Maybe the best moment is still to come. John O'Shea comes back for 94. Treble 19 is not going to go, but McGurk will be left-handed upon his return.
34.
Yeah, just a 2-dart pop finish for Ireland when they return. Scott Campbell just trying to pile on a little bit of pressure here.
108.
Well, he's piled on max pressure.
And so, the WDF World Champion, Shane McGurk, looks at double top. History is in the making, because for the first time ever, there will be a pairs 9-dart shootout.
Wales, you require 110.
Yeah, grimace there from Mervyn King. Treble 20.
54. England, you require 156.
Big ask here. Just a bit too much for Steve West to do.
Wales, you require
Well, if you want to know how relaxed Richie Burnett was prior to coming to the Yogi, he was just biting his fingernails leisurely in the background. But it could be nail-biting stuff for England if he finds his double 16, and they're in a world of trouble now. For Steve West and Mervyn King, and Wales are almost there. It's almost job done. They've got 6 starts here from 127 to open up a 2-0 lead, and a 2-0 lead which would be too much for England to try and claw back in terms of making it through.
103.
And when Burnett is back, he's back for double 12.
It's just felt like a bit of a slog so far tonight for Team England. Over for Double six,
Yeah,
and
so
yeah,
the
great
second
adjustment
leg,
there
Team
from
Wales.
Richie Burnett.
And so that means that Wales are into the semi-finals at the expense of England.
England, you require 24.
He cleared the reds on that attempt, but no more. Richie Burnett and Steve West thought that double 12 was in, and I think one or two in the crowd did as well. Well, you don't need a VAR line for that double six, but that double three is in, and England are on the board. They're not going to be nilled. A beautiful camaraderie between Steve West and Richie Burnett.
First ever MODUS Super Series dance-off on the stage for a moment there.
Well, listen to this. Well, this is the loudest I think I've ever heard the live lounge, and Steve West is embracing it. Is it the live lounge or is it Wembley? I don't quite know.
140.
Yeah, come on.
Is the pageantry over? Double 10. The show goes on.
England, you require 6.
Amazing atmosphere downstairs and played in great spirits. That's got to be single one for double one.
No score. Wales, you require
Well, we've
10.
had all the fun of the fair. And still we go on.
England, you require
At that point, you really, I think they're all over trying, you know. It's that point where you just really want to hit it. You're enjoying the crowd involvement.
Yes, on the fifth leg.
Well, that might well be the biggest cheer we see tonight.
Sixth leg, it's Wales to throw first. Game on.
Steve West up there conducting the crowd. I think the crowd is kind of emulating exactly what we've seen when it's come to the international pairs this week. You know, there's the serious side, but there's also this kind of fun side as well, and quality darts. 180 to leave 36 from Richie Burnett for a match-winning opportunity.
Well, this game's been a dead rubber for a while, so both teams have been playing it in good spirit, but it could be coming to a close here. Kurt Parry looking at double 18 to seal a 4-2 success to quiet down the English crowd. And for Wales, it's 2 wins out of 2, and they breeze through to the semi-finals. It was a little bit of an exhibition at times. Wales got the couple of legs required early on. England mounted a bit of a comeback. The crowd very much went on side. At times, it felt like a football atmosphere rather than a night at the dart. Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series here on Pluto TV. And are you ready to make a little bit of history? Because we are here, the live lounge tonight, for the first time ever. A pairs 9-dart shootout is about to take place. 6 players all on the stage at the same time, because Group 1 this evening could not be separated after 3 matches. Scotland beating Belgium, Belgium beating the Republic of Ireland, and then the Republic of Ireland beating Scotland, all by 4-1 scorelines. Means we have a moment of history here at the live lounge.
Ladies and gentlemen, with Group 1 finishing tied, there will now be a 9-dart shootout. The highest score will progress as the group winner, with second place progressing through second in the group. Each player will now have 3 more practice darts before we commence the shootout.
So this is how it's going to work. The 3 teams had a bull up before we got underway. The team closest to the ball got first choice. That was Belgium. They decided to throw third. Ireland then had second dibs and decided to throw second. And so Scotland had no choice other than to throw first. They had to nominate a player to throw 6 darts. So the first 3 and the last 3, and the player in the middle would throw the middle 3. So Scotland have nominated Scott Campbell to throw first and last. Ireland, Shane McGirt, that goes with their order. However, Belgium have shifted their plan. Shanti Vandenberg has usually thrown first this evening, but they have decided to put that honour upon their captain, Brian Raman. So, what is going to happen here. Whatever happens,
Ladies
we're going to see history.
Best of order in the live lounge, please. The 9-dart shootout starts now.
Jack Garwood lays out the rules. And this place, which was a pantheon not long ago, has descended into silence. They know they are watching history unfold here. Scott Campbell first to the hockey. And kicks off with a maximum. And I suppose the one advantage of throwing first is you can apply the pressure straight away. Now, usually, position 2 is the most fortuitous one because you haven't got the nerves of throwing last, yet you have information
96.
from the throw before. Solitary treble there for Shane McGurk. What can Belgium do? Switching the order, putting Brian Roman into bat. And they find a priceless 140. And so the players in the middle here only have one throw, only one opportunity to affect the outcome.
55.
And Henderson cannot find a power treble, which is great news for Ireland if John O'Shea can find a couple of trebles.
100.
He finds one. And this is very tight towards the line. Big treble from Janty.
100.
So 240 for Belgium. They have a 5-point lead going into the final round of throws. And Scott Campbell knows how nervy a situation this is. That's why he's taken his time. He could find back-to-back 180s, potentially. Well, that is absolutely incredible. Scott Campbell, in a 9-dart shootout, has found 2 180s. And Scotland, on 4-1-5, are in an unassailable position. Shane McGurk finds a treble.
96.
He finds one. That means that Ireland finish up with a total of 292. So effectively here, Brian and Man just need to keep these straight. And Belgium will be through.
55.
But it's 55 for the Belgian pair, which means they are through by just 3 points.
Scotland. Also progressing are Team Belgium.
So Scotland and Belgium are into the semi-finals. The Republic of Ireland head for home. And so Scott Campbell with those 2 180s leads the line for the Scottish pair at the Super Series. And they're in a very good position here, the Scots, to open up a 2-0 lead. 6 starts on 166 to get a breaker throw. They don't need to win the contest, but puts them in a fortuitous position for sure.
134.
Yeah, wonderful setup play there from Scott Campbell. Netherlands at this point with everything to do because this would be a breaker throw and just put Scotland in a very, very strong
Scotland
position indeed.
32.
And so double 16 for Henderson. And that's back-to-back 14 darters for Scotland. Are they peaking at the right time? They're putting in a powerful display. But they have this game in their hands. Two things have happened. Scotland have found one of their best games of the week at the perfect time, and the Netherlands are finding one of their poorer performances when they could least afford it. Scott Campbell just takes a step back. And now will step up for tops. But it drags just underneath the wire. And so there is an opportunity here for the Netherlands to bring it back to 2-1. And crucially as well, it would be a break. If Van Tripe can find the target that Campbell's just missed. It's game back on. The Dutch get a break back to establish the lead, to put them one away from the final. Double 10. Van Tripe couldn't look. And guess who it is? Guess who it is who has the responsibility? Danny Van Tripe can't look, but luckily when Jimmy Van Schie's at the board, you'll hear it if it goes in.
Just trying to work his way in. Just overcooks it.
Scotland, you require
What a chance for the Dutch pair to find a breaker throw, and they would have been serving out the match, but now it falls to the 9-dart shootout hero, Scott Campbell.
5 darts missed for the Dutch to go 3-2 up. And Scott Campbell knows what it's like to be in this position. He was in exactly this situation a couple of weeks ago against Jensen Walker in the semi-finals. But unlike that occasion, he could pin the double 5. And Scotland are on the cusp of the final. One leg away, and the duo of Scott Campbell and John Henderson will probably now have to settle for a last leg decider. Van Trijk goes straight for the double 5. He clips the wire. He can't find it, but Scotland are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, you really couldn't get much closer than that without pinning the double. Scotland will be frustrated. 15 darts thrown, still not down to a finish. They could have had a chance, and now Scott Campbell fills it up.
It's now or never, Jimmy. If you don't find this, you may be heading for home. Huge dart, huge pressure. And it's going to come down to 1 dart. But Van Schie's up to the task, and we go all the way. There's another twist in this incredible tale.
7th and final leg. It's Scotland.
Chapter 7 will be the final chapter of this encapsulating contest.
To get the chance, get the opportunity, make sure fate is in your own hands.
What he'd give for another, finds another. Just about advantage Netherlands, but Scotland get first go.
Now it's all about the setup, and that's a really badly timed loose start, but recovers well.
Netherlands, you require 124.
They have been behind throughout the course of this contest. It's the only time they lead it. The exact moment you want to lead a game, right at the very last. It's bullseye for Jimmy Van Schie. The Netherlands are into the final. Much to the delight of this packed out Portsmouth crowd, because their #1 son, Jimmy Van Schie, has sent his country into the finale at the expense of Scotland, who had their opportunities to make it through.
He couldn't find a way to adjust there, and it's parry, and that is inviting for a third. And there is a maximum, first maximum of the match, and there is no surprise that it goes to Kurt Parry.
60.
Well, if Chris Mason was sat in this seat, he would say timing. And a Wells beginning to stretch away with his semi-final, because Richie Bennett flies double 10 to put them halfway there.
Belgium, you require 126.
Yeah, Richie just wondering why it didn't go in the direction he wanted it to.
.46.
Well, plenty of time on side. But how much pressure is this going to be under?
100.
Ton leaves Bennett on 94 if Roman cannot convert the 80. This for parity. Double 5, he thought it was in.
He obviously felt good, just has to reset. He's one of those players that throws at pace, throws with rhythm, but it's double 5 now, the target for 2 apiece.
Game shot on the fourth
Yeah, that is 2-all. It was a great last start because he had to stop, had to reset.
Wales, you require 143.
They've been doing their job on throw, but they're going to have to find a break at some point if they're going to win this semi-final. And Wales in this leg have 6 to
100.
Hold on to the advantage they had at the beginning of the leg. And Parry's going to come back for 43 to put them to within a leg.
84. Wales, you require 43.
Ah, the lesser spotted double 17, but there was no hesitation there when that first dart drifted up into the treble 3.
6th flag, it's Belgium to the row first. Game on.
Lies potentially on taking out this 146.
Couldn't find the treble 19. So again, it's just a case of setting up. 70 is not a given. And we often say, trying to get that last double is always the hardest.
70.
Well, the first ever PDC World Cup final was between Wales and the Netherlands.
62.
Not quite yet. Will the first
Belgium
international pairs week here
58.
be contested by the same two nations?
And this would be just like Belgium, just like Brian Roman to convert this
on the
58
stick
and make
Team
it 3
Belgium.
apiece. From Santi Vandenberg, not quite enough to leave a finish with the last dart. And back comes Richie Burnett. A bit of noise in the crowd. Richie just wanted to check out what was going on.
138.
However, it hasn't put him off his stride. Roman's got a set-up turn. And now it's down to Kurt Parry to send Wales
96.
into the final.
Wales, you
Kurt
require
did have
68.
a couple of match opportunities in the last.
Game shot on the mark.
And he only
Team
needed
Wales.
one more. It is Wales that is through to the final. They beat Belgium 4 legs to 3. Another one that went the distance. It was a real battle between the pair, but it was Wales that proved victorious in the end. And there you can see the celebrations, you can see what it means to them, and a bit of commiserations between the Belgian pair. They've been thoroughly entertaining this week, and a lot to take. And there's the celebration from Richie Burnett out to the crowd.
Way into the contest like they did in the semi-final. Parry's going to come back for 76 to draw first blood for Wales.
125.
Yeah, that
Wales, you
visit
require
there means Netherlands
76.
are on their coattails, but it's a good first. It's double 8 required.
60. Netherlands, you require
Now, the only ton plus
120.
finish of the night was the 1-2-4 for the Netherlands to win the last leg of that semi-final against Scotland. That was found by Jimmy Van Schie. Can he back that effort up with a 120 to get the break of throw at the very beginning of this final? Double top to do exactly that. Well, he really is the big man for the big occasion, isn't he? Jimmy Van Schie, when it comes up clutch,
Netherlands, you require
leads
96.
Burnett on 48, unless Van Truyck can find this 96. Treble 19 isn't found, and so Burnett's going to get an opportunity to get the break back and to level
64.
this final up at
Wales,
one
you
apiece.
require 48.
Two darts for double 16. Well, it's double 8 now. One dart in hand, and
40.
just the width of a wire away, and you can see what
Netherlands, you
Richie thinks of that.
require
Yep, it's
32.
not far, but it's not in.
Van Schie for 2-0.
Game shot
He
on
is
the second
leading
leg.
his
The
nation's
Netherlands.
charge, and the Netherlands are halfway towards international glory, the live lounge.
Netherlands
This
require
isn't found.
155.
Oh, not far away from the treble target, but far enough to
59. Wales, you
Allow
require 24.
Richie Burnett here. A chance for a leg. Yeah, double 6.
18. Netherlands,
It's
you
all going
require
wrong for Richie
96.
Burnett. It's all going wrong for Wales. Double 18. 3-0
Third
Netherlands.
leg, the Netherlands.
And the pairing of Van Truyck and Van Schie are a leg away
Fourth
from
leg,
being
it's the Netherlands
the
to
main
first.
men here at the Super
Game on.
Series.
Wales, you require
It's a two-darter,
24.
but this to get a leg back. It's not
No
there,
score.
and that could be the end of it.
Netherlands, you require
Danny Van
84.
Truyck comes to the board to seal international glory for the Netherlands. $79 left. It's not there, not this time.
No, it's all just
30.
gone a bit wrong in that
Wales,
throw
you
for Danny Van
require
Truyck, and
24.
now Richie Burnett back up the hockey. 24 required.
Game shot
24
on
this
fourth
time
leg,
is found.
Team
It is a leg on the board for the Welsh, and it is a break of throw.
Been a great addition to this week.
142.
But Jimmy van Schie has another opportunity to wrap it up for the Netherlands, and now it is all about leaving it handy for his teammate.
That's 120 left, so treble 20 the target.
82.
That's a good adjustment with the last.
3 from 3 on their doubles in this final, the Netherlands. And Danny van Tripe will have 2 in his hand at double top to lead the Netherlands to international glory, to win the inaugural international pairs title. Tops it is. And it's double Dutch delight.
International pairs champions, the Netherlands.
The Netherlands are the inaugural international pairs champions. And it is the tall figure Jimmy van Schie that led the way, and it is Danny van Tripe that finished the job off. They have beaten Wales, and it's another trip as they win the inaugural international pairs.
Yeah, a bit of a stumble for the pair towards the end, but they do embrace and they are the champions here at International Pairs Week.
Ladies and gentlemen, after a fantastic week of darts, there can be only one winners. It's the Netherlands! One more time, your first ever MODUS Super Series Internationals Pairs Champions. It's the Netherlands!
Yeah, all returners alongside me in the studio as Netherlands celebrate winning the first international title, and the flag is there for them to celebrate with as well. What a moment, and you can see that national pride really has been a factor this week. This team have been through plenty of drama, plenty of twists and turns, and in the end, do they come out deserving winners?
Look, whoever came out on top was a deserved winner, and we did say before we could have seen absolutely any one of the 6